This is Kerrace Alexander with DeepTruth Media. This article that I posted in the description is Awareness Deconstructing Consciousness and the Law of Opulence. I had to take a little bit of time to reflect on why it is that all of a sudden this law of opulence is coming up for me. A lot of the times I have to just sit with what is happening for me before I can actually sit down and write something, write an article, and then share. So I do go through a process, quite an intense process, each time I actually share at this level, simply because inner awareness that is arising out of the knowing and truth of who I am as awareness and understanding what is transpiring in my life, it's very different than what I have experienced through my third dimensional reality experience, and that what I have come to realize is that I have moved into a higher frequency. I call them upgrades. And this has been going on very intensely since 2006 for me. But they become less and less intense in that they're just subtle. This one that I just had a week and a half ago, this shift in frequency, was quite profound. Because as I've told you on many occasions, for those of you who are listening here, I transcended the mind chatter, which most of humanity operates at, this vibrational frequency of this chatter that goes on in the mind, as transcending the ego consciousness and moved into the heart, where I experience life through the heart space. But even through the heart space in the past 2 years, I've solidified my frequency so that I've even transcended the heart and now experience self outside of the whole mind, body, brain construct, outside of this dimension, and use the heart as a portal or a gateway to come back in and out of this third dimensional construct. But transcending the heart is a part of the process as well. We don't just live in the heart space. The opportunity is to transcend even the heart space, using the heart space as a portal or a gateway into and out of this dimension. That is as awareness in the totality of who and what I am coming to the inner awareness is that as awareness in the totality of who and what I am, which resides outside of this universe, outside of this Milky Way galaxy, outside of the solar system, outside of the physical world system, and then I just, in the totality and expression of who I am as awareness, that I have stepped down to what I can consider the personality of me, Kerrace, having this experience through the brain-body construct with this mind, thought, and thought process, that I'm experiencing as awareness in the totality of who I am as I contemplate this system of consciousness. It's the lowest aspect that one can experience in this third dimensional construct, but it is a lower vibratory aspect in the totality of who and what I am as awareness. And as awareness, what is happening for me as I shift in frequency is that I'm able to experience more of the totality of the awareness that is me through physical form. Therefore, I have transcended my environment, and now I'm in the process of using consciously my mind in order to experience this system of consciousness at varying levels. We'll have to see how that transpires. For me and for you, it's all an experiment. It's never been done before. What I come to understand, though, is that what is happening for me is an implosion in the heart space, because I have been living in a state of bliss, this blissful state, which has had its variances for 4 years now, and I was able to hold it steady the past 2 years because I would kind of oscillate back and forth in my heart space, in and out of 3D vibration, heart space vibration feeling. I wasn't able to hold it completely until 2 years ago. So now I hold that frequency of being in the heart space, and then I've transcended even the heart space. So I use the heart as a portal in and out of this third dimensional construct and then back out into the totality of who I am as awareness. I straddle field of awareness and this field of consciousness that I traverse in, because the system of consciousness is an artificial system. It's mirroring my essence as awareness. And because of the higher frequencies that are coming into this universal system, we are able to experience more of ourself as awareness. And what it's doing is it's bringing up all your stuff in order to be cleared so that awareness can experience itself more through you. And so for me at this stage, because I've done a majority of my clearing, I don't have the clearing to do, but the space is just available for more awareness to experience itself in physical form through me. So what has happened over the past few weeks is that I've been playing on my deck with the frequency, the higher vibrational frequency that I'm experiencing. And so it's this implosion in the heart space. So it's an implosion and a compression. Implosion means an inward, a sucking inward in the heart space, and then a compression and acceleration. And that compression and acceleration is what makes gravity. So that's what I keep talking about, instantaneous manifestation and opulence, manifesting instantaneously. The reason I'm saying these things is because my genetic coding is activating at a higher level now. So it's shutting off some of the lower genetic coding that has been imposed upon me within this system of consciousness, and the higher frequency genetic coding within my biological vehicle is being activated. So the higher frequencies are being activated within me, and so I'm propelled to share at a higher level. This is very different. Now remember, the universal architects created the natural order of creation and the unnatural order of creation within the system of consciousness. And the power control force ride on this whole idea of the unnatural order of creation and create this artificial overlay within this system of consciousness, or the physical world system in which we live in. And that creates all the distortions and all the negativity that has created the genetic coding in which most of humanity operates in on negativity. So we're from a genetic standpoint, we are only experiencing a very tiny aspect in the totality of who we are. Most of our coding is dormant. They talk about this junk DNA. It's not junk DNA. It's the DNA in which the higher order of who and what we are is being suppressed through the negative imposition of this artificial system. The power control force, those that presume to run this world, know awareness. They know who and what you are, and they design a system in which they can suppress your potential, your genius, the higher order of who and what you are, and they do that through negativity. So they suppress your potential genius and your greatness. And because of the higher frequencies that are coming onto this planet, you are now able to tap into your greatness and your higher vibratory genetic coding. It's becoming activated. And again, the power control force are trying to circumvent that from happening. What I'm sharing with you is the way in which I've been able to transcend the environment that is this third-dimensional negative program that's of narratives and scripts, and I've been sharing a lot about that. It's an alchemical process one must go through. And in the transcendence of my environment, I'm now able to, at a higher frequency that I'm oscillating at now, in order to share and experience more of the opulence that's available to each and every one of us. So we'll look at this opulence. But remember, as I said before in my last audio, when we look at the word consciousness, con means to persuade someone to do or believe something, typically by use of a deception, or it can also mean an instance of deceiving or tricking someone. Scious, S-C-I-O-U-S, means knowing or having knowledge. Ness means denoting quality and state. So I took consciousness and I broke it down and looked up the different meanings of that word. Therefore, the deeper meaning that is obscured from humanity is that consciousness is the tricking and deceiving of someone through knowledge. With the ness on the end means the quality and state of tricking and deceiving someone through knowledge, the state of being. So most of humanity is in the state of being tricked and deceived. Trickery and deception is used in order to manipulate their essence as awareness through this consciousness. Brilliant on the part of the power control force, but as more and more people come to witness what is really going on here, they're going to want to transcend their environment as well and be the genius and reclaim the greatness they deserve. The greatest individuals in history waveringly committed to a future destiny without any need for immediate feedback from the environment. Their minds were ahead of their present environment because their environment no longer controlled their thinking. And that's when it's going to happen for so many, and I'm sure it's happening for you as well. They were clear in their minds, these greatest individuals of history. They were clear in their minds about exactly what they wanted to happen. They had a vision of the future reality that existed beyond their senses. When one holds a dream independent of one's environment, this is greatness. And I'm sure many of you have dreams of a greater world, a greater environment. That's natural to have that, not uncommon. Now it's a time for you to find ways in order to step into your greatness, step into your purpose, and live out your purpose, despite what's going on in this physical world. And when we are truly focused and single-minded, the brain does not know the difference between the internal world of mind and what we experience in the external environment. Our thoughts can become our experience. When we change our minds independent of our environment and then embrace an idea with sustained concentration, the brain will be ahead of the environment. But you see, most of humanity believe the body and the mind are one. They are running on subconscious programs, which makes them unconscious, really. It's important for each of us to develop beyond the physical environment. However, the predicament for most of humanity is that they have identified with their senses, their five senses, and their personality, that which they think they are, and they believe their body and environment are one, and they have forgotten that there is mental as well as physical labor. There are those people who have a desire, such as many of you listening here, to use your spiritual forces to draw to yourself material things and therefore develop the faculty of the mind in order to do so. But there are those who don't believe that you should be using spiritual forces to draw material things to you. This type of knowledge is dark. But the power control force use these spiritual forces or the mind. But, some people believe that people who use the mind at higher levels believe that they are trying to manipulate spiritual forces, and because they do not understand how to use them themselves, they object to others using them. And so this is something, a projection that we must overcome. That's a manipulation. The power control force use spiritual forces. They use the mind and their dark magic and their rituals in order to manipulate humanity. But we are going to be using our spiritual forces and our mental forces in order to create good on this planet. The energy is self-policing. Remember, awareness is beyond any concept of energy. But this system of consciousness operates on a system of energy. But we must learn how to use this energy in a way that can support our evolutionary process that we are immersed in this physical dimension. There's nothing else to do. So I've been on my deck playing with the implosion in the heart, with the compression and the acceleration. That is the acceleration. And what I'm feeling is this magnetism. So I've been playing with that, and I'll show you this picture. But I came home after I uploaded that awareness deconstructing consciousness and the whole area of occultism that I spoke about last week. And lo and behold, that day I came home and there was an action, and I talked about a hummingbird that had fell right behind my chair, and because I was playing with my energy and I thought it was dead, but when I went to pick it up, it flew away. That same day I uploaded that video. I came home and there was this dead bird, and I show you the picture here behind my chair, and I realized that it too had got caught in my magnetic field. And although I was working on my holding this implosion within the heart and the compression and the acceleration. Implosion in the heart, when that happens, is a complete surrender, and then there's a compression in the heart which creates the acceleration, and the acceleration is the gravity, the pull. That allows you to create instantaneously. So I've been playing with this magnetic energy, with my own magnetic energy, with this whole area of manifestation, and so I'm playing with it outside, and even though I had left that space, I don't know how long after the bird came into my magnetic field, it got caught in my magnetic field, hit the window and died. So I buried it. And so now I don't do any of my practicing near the window. I've moved my chair over to an area where there's no window. But it's quite interesting. So I'm sure you're having different phenomena, anomalies, but this is awareness, learning how to work with this energy in physical form. So very different experience, and I'm sharing it with you because it certainly in the physical third dimensional realm perspective, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I gather this is a lot of what the adepts in magical circles experience, those who are learning how to use their mental faculties and use their body in order to create and manifest. It's quite interesting. So employers, capitalists, and thinkers plan day after day and work very hard mentally, yet many of them never raise a hand to do physical labor. Believe that part of the work to be done by those persons who still believe they must earn bread in the sweat of their faces, which is most of humanity. So from the standpoint of this law of opulence, we're going to look at three classes of workers within this system of consciousness. There are physical workers, which is most of humanity. There is psychico-mental workers. Those are people who use their mental faculties, but also have their own businesses and may have people working for them. And then there are those who mental workers, that is, they don't do any laboring at all. Those are a lot of the people who are running this world. They don't actually work. They just use their mental faculties and they do all the rituals and stuff. So we want to become more mental workers. We want to be using our mental faculties to create and manifest in this physical dimension. That's the opportunity now. When I delved more deeply into this law of opulence, the law of opulence is the law of supply and demand. And in this physical world system, we have a system, we're immersed in a system of lack and limitation. There's not enough for everyone. Real discrepancy between those who have and those who have not. There is a law that says that there's enough in this universe for everyone. And so the power control force, they're hoarding their wealth, created this system, this artificial overlay on this physical world system of lack and limitation. And that must be dismantled. And we can dismantle it by learning to use our mental faculties as the power controls to use their mental faculties in order to dismantle the system of consciousness so that we can create and manifest the worlds in which we want, as opposed to the world that's being spoon-fed to us. But we have to, as they have, learn to use our mental faculties, our psychic abilities, in order to do that. So each of these classes marks a period of human evolution. But by purely physical workers, I mean the laborers, those who work within our current social structure. That is the mass of humanity. They have no real understanding of the laws of the mind. These people run subconscious habitual programming and are automated primarily and really live unconsciously. Now, the psychico-mental workers are those who, while recognizing that the laws of mind have a wonderful power to aid a man in his development and resources, they use their minds for planning and enlarging their work and drawing opulence to them, and they use physical means also for the purpose of manifesting it. Those again are people who own their own businesses. The third class, though, embraces all of who are purely mental workers, those who have learned to use their minds along all lines and who use mental forces so fully and so completely so that they receive whatever they desire without manual labor of any kind. So that's what we're moving into. That's the opportunity for you. This is not, I'm not joking. This is very real. So these are conscious users of what is commonly called the law of opulence, or the law which brings opulence. Some call this the law of demand and supply. It really does not matter what it's called. It operates as unfailingly on the plane of mind. That is the plane of consciousness. And so I'm going to leave you with that. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. But again, this whole idea of the law of opulence and my greater inner awareness that I'm understanding around the genetic coding that is turned on now within me, allowing me to build this virtual reality matrix that is metamorphosizing through the physical form. As awareness, I can experience more the genetic coding, which is aligned with the natural order of creation within this system of consciousness. And in so doing, I am in a position to now experience opulence as I rest in a constant state of paradise, experiencing this state of bliss and ecstasy, euphoria. All the higher vibratory words that one could even think of in terms of incorporating those into this field of consciousness, this system of consciousness, and that we can create a community or be around like-minded people who are in a position to supersede their environment and reclaim their greatness and live out their purpose and mission at a much higher level. That's the opportunity. So as awareness deconstructing consciousness, what is opening up, what is expanding through the physical form, through the mind, through this mind, this system of consciousness, is to shatter any delusions or illusions that I cannot experience totality and the truth of who I am, the grandness of who I am in physical form, because that is what is manifesting for me at this juncture in this life experience. The awareness that is me, the greatness of who I am, is metamorphosizing itself through me. How that's going to manifest in my reality, I'm not too sure yet, completely, but I'm staying open to what is possible, because it's very different. So I have to just be with that, surrender into that as we share here. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.